done my best to be here. I remember Toronto when Milo went down, and we sat and we cried on the phone. I never felt so alone. He was the first of our own. Some of us go down in the depths of obscurity. Some of us go down in a blaze of publicity. The price of infamy, the edge of insanity. Another holiday in another temporary home, and the interviewer threatened me with a microphone. Talk to me, tell me your story. So I talked about conscience, I talked about pain, and I looked out the window. It started to rain. I thought maybe I've already gone crazy. So I reach for the bottle as you reach for the door, and I pick up the sleeping pills crushed on the floor, inviting me to casual obscenity. So a Marillion morning to you on this Special Turn Tuesday. Bomb notes abound, abound, abound. So this is a tiny little guitar I bought the other day. I bought an amazing Squier P bass, a 1996 Squier P bass. And this little thing, which is a solid top, rubbishy little thing, but it is a solid top, believe it or not. Spruce by the looks, but got it cheap because it's got a wonderful subtle repair. But you know, it works. Now I've been looking for a guitar. It's not in tune right now. I didn't do any preparation as usual, but it's hard to get a little guitar that stays in tune. That's really good, isn't it? Oh dear, off to a great start. It's really hard, as I was trying to say, to get a guitar, a little guitar like this that stays in tune all the way up the fretboard. I mean, that's, you know. It's near enough. It's not in tune, right? Because basically I haven't done any work. I thought this was going to be a lot of work when I picked it up. I basically got it thrown in free with the P bass. I'll show you the P bass quick. Now, my usual guitar broker, I went down there and there was some really interesting guitars there. There was a 70s Japanese Strat type guitar by Coronet, and it had a humbucker at the bridge. It was really in budget, really great looking thing. I'm sorry about this camera business I'm working with, just bear with me. There was a red Super Strat that had a full set of EMGs in it that was in budget, and a trem. That's probably what I'd have got. There was a nice electroacoustic. But those are the two solid bodies that stuck out. I would have bought that heavy metal guitar. But then this boring ass P bass. But the green caught my eye. Can you see that? Can you see that? It caught my eye, and I thought, oh, well done. And I picked it up, and I just went, oh, my ribs are shaking. This thing, you hit the note, this resonates like a motherfucker. I thought, you know, I've got a fucking, I have a really nice P bass, and it's my P bass. It's nothing special, to be honest, right? It's nothing special, but it's very well regarded by other bass players, and not least of which is a former boss of mine. I could name drop, but I won't. But those that know me know exactly what I'm on about. Now this, I've modded this, you know, a fair old bit, as you can see. But not a massive amount. It's got 3 strings on my wagon at the moment. But this is a made in Korea. Always thought it was an 80s bass, but I've since found out, in researching my other one, I researched this as well, and I since found out that this is a 1992. But also that means something interesting. These necks were sourced from Japan, and they were for the Fender Japanese guitars. So they got, sent over to Korea to be built on the Squires, and that's cool. But the neck isn't half as good as on the other P bass. So I'm feeling a bit willocky. I'm just going to have to slow down a bit. But yeah, so this plays wonderfully. It's very plain. There's some figuring, is 3 bits of wood, and there's some figuring on the top piece. And I think this is what's going into this being such a. I mean, the feel of the neck. Like, it actually feels like, you know, when you pick up a 50s P bass, if you ever are that lucky, and I have been lucky on that one, thanks to a particular boss of mine. You know, you pick up a 50s P bass and it's like all the lacquer has been worn, and also everything's been smoothed by friction. This feels very much like that, and the shape, it just sits. But I'll demo this one, you know, another time. But what a boring looking thing. But you know what? You know, I say that and it's like, you know, one of my best guitars looks like this. But it plays fantastically. It's I was always going to have to get another P bass anyway, as I mentioned in other videos, because it's my choice for live. So, you know, when I finally get it together and get the dreaded bootstick on the drums, the wonderful Richard. Yeah, you know, if I'm going to be doing bass live, I'm going to be needing to. So I was always going to, you know, get another P bass, but I would have been far more interested had it been like a jazz bass or a Rickenbacker copy. Or anything else, you know, like an Ibanez Soundgear type bass. There are a million of those generic things. You know, I have one back in Chichester, which is stashed in someone's house. One of the things that just hasn't made it back up to the New Forest from the chaos of being on the streets of Chichester, being homeless, you know. And that's like an Ibanez Soundgear configuration, you know, 24 fret, with a little Ditty headstock, made by Tanglewood actually, and it's got a PJ set of pickups. So yeah, like that's the news. I'll play you out a little bit. What do you fancy? Classical, electric? I'm going to do a Strat video soon, so let's just have a bit of steel. In fact, Malco did an APX video. This is an APX 7, I think, or 5. APX 7. And this is from the 90s. And it's a very unusual guitar. It's resin. Okay, but when you actually look inside, it's wood. Wood back and sides. Odd, eh? A real oddity. If you want to know about the electronics and that, go and see Malco's video. This is Delta G. Delta G. I was on a chat, and there were Americans in the chat, and they could talk about Open G, but they'd never heard of Delta G. I'm not the only one, right? I mean, I spent like 20 years learning Delta G and talking about Delta G with other blues players. I'm not wrong, am I? Right, I'm just noodling and I'm fucking showboating and being a fucking plonker. There's another thing I do with Delta G. Just a quick one because I'm trying to sort of like do videos on equipment I'm really unfamiliar with. I'm using my girlfriend's Kindle and it's not an easy machine to work with, so I don't know how long I can keep this up for. So I'm going to call it quits, but today, Tone Tuesday, which frankly I'll do on a Wednesday or a Thursday or whatever the bloody fuck they like. I'm going to do a thing about strats. I'm going to do the thing about Stratocasters. Which is not going to be, you know, I'll be playing a Strat, playing some slow hand and some fast hand and some middle hand and some left hand maybe. Gonna do what I want to, gonna kill that dirty groundhog. I said goodbye baby, gonna be leaving you now. We shall have good times, or any times, but we shall have times.